Hey there guys, I just posted my top 10 movies of 2021 video. Go check it out, it's a good time. And I'll keep it real with you, it was a struggle to find 10 movies I really wanted to put on that list. But when it comes to the top 10 worst movies of 2021, it was almost too easy. So go grab some popcorn, something cold to drink. Now let's talk about my top 10 worst movies of 2021. Do I need to say more? Okay, before we dive into this right here, I first want to say this. When it comes to bad movies on this list, I don't go out of my way to watch the most terrible movies of the year. So I won't include movies like Clifford the Big Red Dog or Boss Baby or shit like that. Now keep this in mind, Disney acquired Fox for billions of dollars. And this is what they decided to do with the rights to Home Alone. They made this. I love the original Home Alone films. When it came to those movies, I wanted to see Kevin McAllister outsmart the Wet Bandits using micro machines and Christmas ornaments. When it comes to Home Sweet Home, I was hoping the bad guys would win, bash his brains in, and leave his body on the floor for his parents to come home and find him once they returned. It just got really dark. We should go to the next movie, quick. Reminiscence starring Hugh Jackman. I love me some Hugh Jackman, but you know what's worse than a bad movie? A boring movie. And for me, I find things like this unexcusable. When you have a high concept, a great cast, a huge budget, there's no reason a movie should be this underwhelming and boring when you watch it. It was sort of like style over substance. We've already seen everything in this movie and other movies, but done better in those other movies. And once again, I would rather watch a bad film that's mildly entertaining at times than a polished up, boring movie like Reminiscence. Snake Eyes. Growing up, I loved G.I. Joes, I loved the toys, I used to play with them, I watched the cartoons, and when it came to the first movie, before it came out, I was sort of excited. Then I saw it, and I wasn't a big fan. Then I saw the sequel, I wasn't a big fan, so I didn't really have high expectations for a spin-off series from the same franchise. But man, was it worse than I expected. If you went and saw Snake Eyes because you liked the character or the trailer looked mildly entertaining to you, it lied to you, because he doesn't even don the mask until the last 3 seconds of the movie, and as soon as he puts that on, the credits roll. Think of the film Snake Eyes like this. Imagine watching Batman Begins, and throughout the entire film, you see him training as a ninja, you see him as Bruce Wayne, and at the very end of the movie, for the last 3 seconds, he finally puts on the bat cowl, and then the movie just ends. That's what happens in Snake Eyes.
This movie was like a turd in the wind.
That's my terrible Venom impression, but when it comes to Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, I just say, please let there be a good movie. On a positive note, I really enjoy the character of Carnage and Venom. I think there's potential to make a phenomenal movie based on these characters. But they have yet to even make a mediocre movie based on these characters. Venom Let There Be Carnage felt like an early 2000s comic book movie where they didn't quite have enough substance and they had this weird style. That's what Sony's still doing with their comic book properties, and it scares me to my core that one day Spider-Man might go back to Sony Studios. I don't think we want that. So yeah, Venom 2 just felt like a waste of both characters shoved together in a 90-minute movie where you just instantly forgot it as soon as you left the theater, or at least I did. Those Who Wish Me Dead starring Angelina Jolie, and after watching this movie, I wish I was dead. I honestly forgot this movie existed until I went to make my top 10 worst of the year list, and I was like, what came out this year? Oh yeah, I watched that one day. The best way to sum up Those Who Wish Me Dead is, it feels like a straight-to-DVD movie from 15 years ago that you would have found in the Walmart $5 bin. Don't Breathe 2 made me wish I wasn't breathing. See, I'll keep doing that for every movie. But when it comes to this film, first of all, I like Stephen Lang, but when it came to his character in the previous film, he did unspeakable things to a woman with a turkey baster in his basement. And now in the sequel, they're trying to force this contrived plot on you to turn that bad guy into a good guy. And it's like, no, I remember what that guy did in his basement with a turkey baster. He can't be a good guy. That's like the same logic of trying to make Buffalo Bill the next Captain America. Yeah, I'll go with that example.
It puts the lotion in the basket. It puts the lotion in the basket. I could do this all day.
And real quick, before we continue on, I'm going to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this video, Skillshare, because they help make videos possible. Without them, I couldn't afford the internet, the lighting, or the microphone to make this video.
My name is Morgan Freeman.
So I'll be right back after this quick sponsor message. Big thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning community where you can take thousands of online classes. Let me tell you something about me. When it comes to learning new things, I almost become addicted to the point where I stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning on Skillshare taking new classes. Like what kind of classes, John? Well, they include video editing, audio editing, graphic design, anything I can use to improve my YouTube videos and just make them look slightly better. Another class I recently took was called DIY Cinematography, Make Your Video Look Like a Movie by Ryan Booth. Maybe you're a graphic designer or a filmmaker or a guy who makes YouTube videos like me, but there's classes on there that can help you improve what you're doing. Because my goal in 2022 is to make what I'm already doing better. There's new premium classes launched every week. It's ad-free so you can stay in the zone while exploring new skills. The best part is the first 1,000 people who use my link down below get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Yeah, it's free. Check it out. Why not? Explore your creativity, learn a new skill. The link is down below. As always, guys, thanks for listening. Let's get back to the video. Resident Evil, welcome to another bad video game movie. If you would have told me this movie was made back in 2004 and kept in a vault and then released in 2021, I would have believed you, because that's what it feels like. It feels like one of those early 2000s really crappy action movies that go straight to DVD. And I will probably use that reference again at some point in this list, but it's another bad Resident Evil movie. Do I need to say more? Okay, number 3 on my list. I had a few movies I was going to put into this spot, but you know what? I'm going to go with this, Red Notice. And hear me out for a second. I know some people really enjoy this movie, and if you just thought it was a mediocre action movie to watch on Netflix at 2 o'clock in the morning and you instantly forgot about it as soon as you watched it, I understand that. But everything I just said is everything wrong with modern day movies and modern day cinema. Now, I like The Rock, I like Ryan Reynolds, I like Gal Gadot. I feel like there's a lot of talent and craftsmanship that were wasted on this movie, not alone with millions of dollars and a terrible script that they felt like they needed to make. Why? Everything that's been done in this movie has been done in other movies for the last 25 years, but better in all of those previous movies. Now, I know I'm going on a rant right now, but just hear me out for a few seconds, because it's things like this that really get under my skin. I can accept a terrible movie as long as it knows it's terrible. But when it comes to things like this, Netflix really thinks this is like the next level action film, and this is just a mediocre film put on some pedestal, and eventually what's going to happen is society, because they have Netflix accounts, these are movies that are just fed to us. We don't go out of our way to watch Netflix movies. We just sit down and watch them. That's what's on Netflix. Let's click it. Okay. We don't put much thought into it. So whenever you put mediocrity on a pedestal, that becomes the norm. And if mediocre movies like Red Notice become the normalcy for upcoming big action movies that cost $200 million, and keep in mind, this movie did cost hundreds of millions of dollars, just let that sink in for a second. Eventually, that's where Hollywood is going to go, and that's all we're going to see. The Matrix Resurrections, also known as a waste of Keanu Reeves. I still am in shock of how terrible the screenplay of this movie really was. This did not feel like a Matrix film. It didn't even feel like a real movie. It just felt like this meta mess of complaints from the director's mouth, but they were actually writing dialogue for the characters to say their own personal complaints throughout this film. I said this in my review for the film, but it feels like Lana Wachowski was almost forced to make this movie because without her, the studio was going to make the movie no matter what, and rather than allow that to happen, she was like, okay, I'll come back, I'll make the movie, but let me destroy what I've created. That way no one can continue the property after this. And it just felt like self-destruction and sabotage. There was no intention to make a really good movie here. It was just to end it in a miserable, fiery car crash of a way. I wish I could take a blue pill right now. Space Jam: A New Legacy. This is everything wrong with reboots / reimaginings, and I truly feel sorry for the new generation of children growing up with terrible movies like this. Yeah, this new Space Jam movie just feels like the poor man's Kmart version of the original. And the great thing about the original Space Jam film, Michael Jordan wasn't overstepping his boundaries. He was just there to play basketball with the Looney Tunes and say a few bits of dialogue. In this new Space Jam movie, LeBron is trying to act. There's a big plot with him and his family, and it's just like, Stop trying to act. It's ruining the movie. Alright guys, I feel like I was just hit by a bus, but those are my top 10 worst movies of 2021. Now here's my question for you, and let me know down below. What are your top 10 worst movies of 2021? Share your thoughts, your opinions down below. I love to hear from you guys. I feel like I need to go take a nap now, but before I go, make sure you go watch my top 10 best movies of 2021 video. Click the thumbnail after this video. That's a good time. As always guys, make sure you subscribe. That way I can see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.